Hello, everyone. There I go. It wasn't working. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Bros and Shows. I am your host, Josiah, aka Mahler67. With me, as always, I got my buddy. I got my pal. I got my brother. My brother, Austin. Austin, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Pretty good. That's what I like to hear. I had a little bit of a hiccup. I think it's just my computer. I don't think it's Discord, because my streaming thing did not switched my microphone out. So I was doing the thing. I'm like, it's not recognizing my voice. Oh no. As I was talking. But hey, what can you do? Austin, how you been, man?
I've been pretty good. Been going through some stuff right now, like some life changes and stuff like that. I found out that I have type 2 diabetes. It's something that, a lot of people, it's very common. A lot of people inherit it from, genetics, or it's just like a bad lifestyle. Well, the thing is it's something like when you get older, you're terrified of being told something like that this is something that you're probably going to live with the rest of your life. And because you never know, medicine always advances. 30 years from now they could be like, we found the cure. I was just reading today, some Japanese scientists found a way to make a cat live to 30 years because of some vaccine.
Yeah, so it's not so much that they made him learn to live that long. It's he found a vaccine. He made a vaccine to help fight feline kidney disease, which is the number. It's feline kidney disease or liver disease. It's one of those two, and that's the number one killer of cats. Is that once they get to a certain age, if they don't die by something more like cereal, they just die because their kidneys fail.
Yeah.
But that vaccine has worked wonders, because they even apply it to cats who had only weeks to live, and it has extended their lives exponentially. And so they're once this vaccine gets out and about, cats could live up to 30 years. And I'm like, heck yeah, I can get Molly to live longer than me. That would be fantastic.
They're actually doing the same thing with dogs right now.
That's good.
They're trying to implicate that, because I saw there was another video. I don't know if you guys do have TikTok. One of my favorite things to follow is Breaking News, the fish from SpongeBob. Breaking news. So
the amount of times I've learned news from that I was like, this is where we're at in the world. I'm learning breaking news.
If I go back in time and could tell myself something from the future, I'd be like, the fish from SpongeBob that gives breaking news? Yes, you'll see that on a platform, and he'll totally give you breaking news.
That will be your news source outside of the Philip DeFranco show. It's like, who's Philip DeFranco? Shut up, Josiah.
You'll learn,
listen.
kid. It's pretty funny.
Exercise boy.
It's funny that if anyone was like, oh yeah, well, what's your news source? I'll be like, the fish from SpongeBob.
The fish from SpongeBob is undocumented. He just says what is and then finishes it.
Yeah.
Funny enough, there's that one. I do follow that too, because I found it funny whenever I first found it. There's two news source people that I follow, and one of them I'm like, this is a good news source. This person does a really good job. And the other one is I followed them as a LOL, this is funny, and then quickly became, yeah, I actually kind of like this person's style. And the one is this guy who wears a beanie, and he always begins, he's like, I tried to do this, but stuff kept happening. And then he would go through everything. He's actually pretty charismatic. I really enjoy the guy. I don't even know his name or his TikTok or anything. I just watch it anytime he comes on, because he can just explain the stuff. And the other one is this, I don't even know this person's name. I just find them and I'm just like, LOL, this is hilarious. It's this girl who's speaking in kawaii, and she'll say then and radical things, and it's just so hilarious to me. She's like, in the US we have more people with unsustainable jobs, and then she just does all these. I'll send you some, because it absolutely makes me laugh. But then she talks about super dark or deep things, and you're just like, what am I watching? Is this dystopian? This is how I acquire my news. It's through a e-girl, Quai-girl, and the fish from SpongeBob.
And a guy with a crowbar from time to time.
Yeah,
or a
yeah,
girl
yeah.
under
Okay,
the
so
desk.
you know exactly who it is. Oh yeah, girl.
Yeah.
Under the desk. I do hear from her
Yeah.
occasionally for like U.S. politics stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, but
But yeah,
I'll tell you what, it's crazy world whenever that's our news sources, you know.
yeah, like so back off what I was saying is like I did find out that I'm type 2 diabetic and I had to do a complete lifestyle change. I have made things for the better. One, I am eating healthier, way more healthier. I got rid of pop consumption, eating anything that was like a lot of carbs, because that can be really hard on like keeping my sugars balanced.
Yeah.
And if you keep your sugar high for too long, you can do damage to like your kidneys, your heart, like, you know, multiple things. So like I'm just trying to keep it that way. I have quit vaping. I haven't vaped since Sunday.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I know you are. It's something that like, you know, you always like
Well,
get
it's
me on.
like I remember like growing up, it was like you started smoking cigarettes. I'm like, Austin, you should stop smoking cigarettes. And you're like, okay, well, I'll stop. I started I started chewing. And I'm just like, Austin, why? And then you're like, I stopped chewing because I hated all those balls. Now I'm smoking again. It's like, gosh dang it, Austin. Like I started dating Sydney, so I'm not smoking no more. I'm chewing now. It's like, gosh dang it. It's like I stopped both of them. Now I'm vaping, and it's like, I guess that's better, even though like I love the one doctor who said, he's like, it's like, is vaping better than cigarettes? Yes. However, you know, putting anything in your body like that is not good. But is it worlds better than those? Yeah, it's much better than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, I quit that. I'm like, yay, Austin. I'm always down for that. Plus, it's just an expensive habit too, like all those.
Well, it is, but the thing is like the leading cause of diabetes is inflammation too. So like that's why when you're obese or anything like that, inflammation that happens, smoking is a main cause of that. So I said, you know, I'm not.
When you say inflammation, what do you mean?
Like inflammation of like your body. So like your lungs, like your heart and kidneys and stuff, when you breathe in that stuff, you're inflammating, like, you know, you could be inflammating your veins or whatever the heck they talk about. But inflammation that is happening is in the kidneys because your kidneys are trying to filter out the glucose that is in your body. And if you, usually they can do that, but when you're diabetic, you produce too much glucose. Then your body doesn't have enough, you know, resistance to it, so it pees it out. So that inflammation can go a long way, because if you already on top of it have diabetes and then you have more inflammation happening and you're not correcting it, it won't correct its properly. Like some people don't take care of their diabetes at all. Like I know a guy that still drinks alcohol like on a daily basis, and you're just like, that's going to kill you, you know? And it's like, I don't care, I'm American. And I'm like, okay, you know.
If I die before I'm 60, that's good for the U.S. economy, so they don't have to pay for me. And it's like,
pray for my grave.
But you're paying yourself. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so like that's why like
just dig me a hole and throw me in the ground.
But I will say that ever since I've been diagnosed, I feel a lot better. Like I feel a lot healthier. Like I was having problems like sleeping. I was having a lot of problems with being agitated, angry, and just being tired like constantly. And after I got diagnosed and started like on a new diet and I stopped vaping, I started realizing that my attitude has really changed. So I'm kind of really happy that, you know, it sucks that I have it, but the thing is like I'm here, and I'm here to like fight it. And what, you know, my father-in-law, you know, like said it perfectly. Like my mother-in-law was like, hey, you know, like how do you think Austin's gonna do with this? You know, and Tom responded with like the best response ever. It's like, when you back Austin in a corner, you know, he'll outsmart you.
Oh, okay.
He'll outsmart you and get out of that corner. And I was like, yeah, like that's exactly how I feel. Like I'm not messing around. I'm trying. And there is a way you can reverse some of the effects or put it in remission. And that's what I'm planning on trying to do, is like put this in remission. But also it kind of was like a reality check to realize I should take care of myself more. And it's something that, you know, I just don't mess around. Like when something like this happens, I instantly now, you know, like I took forever to like find a doctor and stuff like that. And now I have a family doctor, and it's been so much better. I can like, I can go there for anxiety and stuff like that. Like, it's good. So I had a really good week. But I passed all that. How was your week so far?
My week's been okay. I'm still dealing with the whole leg thing. Laying around a lot in bed, which sucks. I started getting some like relief in my leg and everything, and then my bottom of my foot started hurting, and that sucked. Like, I wasn't able to walk again because like it felt like my bottom of my foot was bruised, is the best way of saying it.
Yeah.
Like the pain traveled all the way down there. The pain's starting to go away, but I'm still like not able to apply a lot of pressure to it because it still hurts. I'm hoping once that's gone, a lot of my issue is kind of gone. I still can't really sit very well. Like right now, I'm kind of leaning hard to my right now. And I don't like that, and I think that's probably bad, but there's no other way for me to sit. And until I go to the orthopedic on the 13th, I'm just kind of like surviving. Which I do have to go into work tomorrow because we have this big order of like things to do, and most of the time the most I've seen is like 10 orders come through. We got 800 to come through.
Ooh.
And our company's like, yeah, you gotta do this, and it's like, this printer is not meant to print this many, and they're like, well, yeah, you gotta do it. And it's like, this is stupid. Everyone is like, we can't do this. Like, this is stupid. And then the worst part is that the manager is off on vacation. The other coworker I work with, she got the flu, and she has been requesting off every single day. And I've been working from home because of my leg. And I was talking with essentially the supervisor, and she's like, I've never done this before, and I have no concept. I'm like, and it's very hard for me to explain how to do stuff, because I'm like explaining it over like chats and whatnot. And so I told her, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to make it in on Thursday. I can't guarantee how long I'll be in there, but I will try to make it and at least try to help. And so that's my goal. I'm like, I'm going to go in there tomorrow and hope that I can make it in there, that doesn't hurt that bad, and that I can do everything. But we'll see. And that's what I got to deal with tomorrow. So cowabunga to it all. But, hey, man, compared to the life choices and life decisions throughout everything, going into work when you're in pain versus, changing your diet for diabetes and all that stuff is nothing compared to going and killing your mom and the evil forces of hell. Because that's what we're talking about this week, Austin. We're talking about Disenchantment Season 5, the finale.
The final chapter.
The final chapter of Disenchantment. Yeah. Austin, what'd you think of it?
So I'm gonna be real with you. There was some things I really liked about it, but there was a lot of things I did not like about this, like the finale.
Okay.
And it wasn't, and the thing is like, it's not like it came out of the blue. I've been feeling this way since like the last couple of like seasons. Like they're okay. They're not great. There's some great moments, but I feel like sometimes like it was forced. A lot of the like humor was forced, or some of the storylines kind of were like kind of unoriginal. Like for example, the Elfo going back in time and shooting himself kind of remind me of just like Fry, like the Nibbler going back in time.
The second that he saw his old bow with a single arrow,
I knew
my brain instantly went like, he kills himself. Like, that's the whole joke, is that he's the one who kills him. I just, I'm kind of there with you. I will say there was a couple like laugh out loud moments in this season that actually had me quite entertained.
And I think they were making fun of a certain show for the ending. I think they were making fun of Game of Thrones a little bit towards the end.
In what way?
Oh, well, because of Mop Girl just being the queen, or like the king, or the protector.
Oh, you know what? I did think about that, where I'm just like, Mop Girl.
I was thinking about that. I was like, whoa, is that like a poke at Bran? Like,
I mean, you
know, like people didn't see that coming at all, but it's kind of that way. there was some things that like I think they could have like expanded on story wise in this season, and they just kind of just like hurried it up a little bit. And that could be just Netflix in general, because Netflix I know was like, you know, they probably were like, hey, this is your last season, you got to finish up everything. And I just feel like it was a little rushed a little bit, but also not really worked out right. And some of the characters, I was okay with certain things, but like there was a lot of stuff that I didn't really care for. Like one of the main things I really didn't care was the Elfo storyline with Mop Girl, like them being a couple. I was like, okay, I get it. You gotta wrap Elfo's story up, but like it was like this quick random thing that just happens where it's like, I want to be with you. I was like, when did those feelings ever come up that way? Like I just felt like those feelings were just randomly there. There wasn't like a build up at all throughout the other seasons. It was just...
I do also want to point out that Mop Girl was not a character until last season. Like she was shown in different seasons, but never like a character. It wasn't until the end of season 4 that she actually started talking and helped them out. And then that's whenever everyone's like, Mop Girl, and she's just like, I have a name, but like no one knows it. And she seemed to be some form of wizard, which I do remember whenever we watched the last season, I pointed out that I really liked the character and I would love to see them more active in the next season. And so I was actually pretty happy with her involvement in this season. I was perfectly fine with the whole Elfo and her getting together. I think my only issue that I had with those two is that we learned that like Mop Girl is like half elf, but we don't know like what other she is. And I really wanted them to like explain away why Mop Girl was the best choice by saying like she is the daughter of a human and a elf, the two ex-rulers of this kingdom, and that's what makes her the best thing, is because she would be impartial to her two species, right? That's what I really wanted them to like go into and talk about, but they didn't really do that. And that's why I thought why she made a good decision as being the queen, is because like, oh, she's like the in-between between the two. Like she can be impartial for the elves and the humans, but they didn't go into that at all. And I was like, okay, never mind, I guess put that off to the side. I did like the fact that in the earlier thing she was like casting magic, and then at the end of it she's not doing any magic, and it's like, I thought you said you could do magic. She's like, well, I like went to school for 2 weeks, and it was more like a bartending school than anything. And it's like,
oh, oof.
Like we've been there. We've all been catfished with someone who said like, yeah, I've been in the restaurant biz for 10 years, and you're like, oh great, what position were you? It's like, I was a waitress. Like, oh no. Gordon Ramsay's gonna have a day.
Oh yeah.
But I do understand what you're saying there, where you're like, I feel like this season was like 2 season stories wrapped together that they kind of just meshed together. Because like the whole thing with Bean going on the adventure to like go and rescue her dad and all that stuff. Yeah. And then like they get sidetracked to go to Maru, and then they get sidetracked to go to the
asylum.
That's it, the asylum, and then they go back. It's like all these feel like side parts of like one season, and then them back at the castle was like a whole different season. Yeah, I don't know. I still liked the episodes. I still enjoyed the characters. I really liked it, but I kind of agree with you where it felt almost discombobulated with the different stories that they obviously wanted to tell and apparently needed to tell to explain away some stuff. Even though I felt like some characters acted out of nature in this season, but
yeah. And the thing is like there was one thing that I thoroughly enjoyed actually the story, and that was like the end of Lucy, of where he kind of like wishes for like Beam to have a better life, because it makes sense. Like he was meant to destroy her, and at the end of his life he decides to help her because it would make her a better person. and I really like that. Um,
Yeah, he's like, she just deserves happiness.
yeah, and that's good. I like that whole story beat. I thought it was really really well done. Um, but there's been a problem with the series I've had for the last couple seasons where I can't just binge it anymore. Like the first season I could binge, and the second season I could binge. But 3, 4, and 5 were like those seasons where like I'd watch a couple episodes and then forget about it. Like, and then before you know it, I'm like, oh man, I gotta watch that.
Yeah, you gotta finish it.
Or yeah, I gotta
You know
finish
what's
it.
funny is I was the exact opposite. I remember
Mm-hmm.
watching the first 2 seasons and being like, I'm not really interested in these characters. I remember like the first season feeling that way because it was story driven, and I was like, I thought this was going to be like Futurama, where it's just these characters and they're dealing with like every episode is like sitcom style issues arise or problems arise. They do it, and by the end of the episode, it's done. But they make it a overarching story. But once I got to season like 3, 4, and 5, I realized what I was in for, and I was able to watch it and enjoy it. Plus, I also think once King Zod stopped being like a jerk and had like his whole downfall and then revitalization, I think my enjoyment of the show increased because we no longer had the like antagonistic father who was not supportive of his daughter and was an idiot running the kingdom.
Yeah.
And then he just became the idiot running his life and the kingdom living
Honk,
itself.
honk, honk.
Honk, honk, honk.
Honk, honk, honk. I still use that a lot. Like I'll just randomly I'll just be like, wah, 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 wah. Now the very interesting thing is they kind of like play I like how they tied that Bean was really happy that her stepmother was there for her. I really enjoyed that they wrote that in where it was like, Una, you know, you were so supportive of me through this whole time, and I was just a complete A about it, you know, and I'm sorry, like towards the end. And that and the you know, and even her reaction was like, you know, I love you and stuff like that. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I loved the ending of Zog, where Zog just was like, I'm done being a king. Like I just want to be happy
with my
I
wife
want to
and
live
my
in the
child.
woods. Yeah.
Which was something that like I remember us talking about that. I'm like, I want Zod to do that. Like I want Zod to have a happy ending, go into woods, be with this person, and be happy. And he got to do that.
Yeah.
I like that there of the endings of a lot of the characters, I think a lot of them were good. Like I liked Elfo and the elf girl being the rulers and being good. I like that Lucy is stuck in heaven and he gave up his wish to make Bean happy, even though I thought that was a little out of place for him. I really thought that was a situation where he could like twist the wish in a way to get more for it, or at least try to twist the wish, and then God's like, I know what you're doing here, I'm not doing that. And he's like, you can't blame me for trying, and then just do the actual wish. Like, I thought that's what was going to happen, but he was just 100% sincere with it, which was weird. I really felt ripped for Dagmar. I felt Dagmar's ending was very mediocre.
Yeah.
Like, I like the joke where Mob Girl says is like, only you can kill her, or like a big rock or something could kill her, and then she gets defeated by a giant crystal falling on her, and I laughed at that because I'm like, that was foreshadowed, like that was a joke. But then at the end, whenever she's like impaled and Satan comes up and she's like, help me out, and then he takes her to the cage, my brain instantly went, what? That means she could get out. She's immortal. What I thought too. Like, why would you put her there? I would have just kept her stuck in that cave for eternity and never to be found, right? But then it's like, oh, now we're here for all eternity. I'm like, Mel rust, my man. They're on the side of the ocean thing. That thing's gonna rust. She's gonna break free and she's gonna live. Like, I would have liked it better if like he teleported her either to hell and be suspended over a pit, or like what I actually think would have been cool, and I wanted them to dive into more and they didn't, was her get teleported under the sea to where the mermaids live, and because she's immortal, she's just there perpetually drowning essentially, and the mermaids just kind of use her as a trophy. And I was like, that would be cool with me, but They didn't really care. Zod was fine. I
Yeah.
think Zod's ending was good. I
Yeah.
liked the fact that Big Jerry,
Big Joe.
Big Joe and what's his face, reunited and are good.
Sister,
Cesario.
Sisteria.
Oh
Or some
no.
Sistera.
No, Big Joe and his person who pulls his cart.
Oh, Gary
No, not Gary. I
or
forget who
Paul.
it is.
I think it was like it was some common name. John, Paul,
it was
Gary.
something. But
Because he
like
also had a puppet of him.
yeah, he was doing all that stuff. Yeah, there was a lot of good endings for a lot of different people. I do like the fact that they end the series with Bean and Mora ditching their wedding and Elfo realizing, oh dang, they hate weddings. And then he didn't get to say goodbye to her, but I'm like, that's poetic, like, right? Like that's fine with me. I'm okay with them not saying goodbye.
You know, and like in reality, it's not like, you know, she went away forever. Like, because the thing is like, she's not too far. Like, she could still come back and say goodbye or even be friends with them. What was really funny though was Elfo's brother hooking up with Elfo's ex fake girlfriend.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. I laughed really hard. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like, look at her. She's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
This is so beautiful.
I also like the fact that when they're in the Steamland, she runs by the one woman who like helped her out that was part of the guards, and she's like, oh, so that's why you never called. It's like, don't pay attention, she doesn't exist. And I'm like, that seems like a meta joke where it's just like, look, we never intended her to like be a thing, just like a quick fling, so like throw that out the window, get that pass, like, whoop, there's her moment.
The only ending that was like that had any really bad repercussions was the guy from Steamland and the one girl that went to the moon with him.
Oh yeah, and that
because they both died.
Well, maybe
they allude to it.
It's allude to this idea that they're up there stuck together, and that they can't leave the ship because there's no oxygen, which I assume would mean that they would die.
Yeah. The moon.
which I was okay with that because I didn't understand like his whole point. Like, why did he want to go to the moon? Like, that felt really weird and unthinkable.
That was one of the other things I was upset. I was like, why does he want to go to the moon with her? Like, is there like something there? Or maybe that will tie into Futurama's timeline, which would be kind of funny.
I would this would be one of those situations that I would love to see this stuff appear in other Matt Groening stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with how the series ends with the little like special scene at the end of post credits. Yeah, there's like a lot of things. I will say I totally thought whenever they ended up killing God, I thought they were going to go the route that Lucy becomes God essentially, right?
Yeah.
And Jerry becomes essentially Jesus Christ. And that explains why it explains why God's like actions change dramatically from New Testament to Old Testament. That's what I totally thought what they were going to do. Or I thought what they were going to do is that they had to kill both God and the devil. Because Bean wanted to get rid of all magic. And then when we find out that magic is created from heaven with the tears of angels, and then the hell scene from hell, I'm like, is it going to be a thing that Lucy and Jerry kills God, which stops heaven's like rain stuff, and then Bean kills like the devil and Dagmar, which stops the steam rising and everything, and that means there's no more magic in the world, and then the world becomes like the Earth we know about because there's no more magic in the world.
Yeah,
that's what I thought was going to happen, because I remember us talking about the concept of disenchantment, and I'm like, I feel like I want to know what disenchantment is. Like, I feel like the whole story is about them disenchanting the world.
Yeah,
like the Dreamland is actually enchanted, and the whole story is about them unenchanting Dreamland, which that story arc of them killing God and the devil would remove magic. That would be disenchanting the world of magic. And that's why I thought it was going. I was like, oh heck yeah, like let's see this story, this is fantastic. And then they're like, nah, let's not do that. Yeah, the devil's fine, he goes
the
back
other
home.
thing that I had a weird thing about was the crown. I don't understand what the crown really did in this scenario.
That was a lot. The funny thing is, is they knew they were going to get slack for different story beats because they had the guy in the window. He was like, I don't like how you wrapped up certain things, and you very much did not explain things. And then he gets the brick in the head from God.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he's right. There is a lot of things, and that's one of them. It's like, what was the point of the crown?
Yeah.
Like, I thought the point of the crown was to give the person like absolute power, which is why she needed Bean to get it. But then she ends up putting it on herself. And it's like, why does she need it? Because she's already drinking this water that gives her magic powers. I don't understand what the crown's for. Like, what is the crown about? And it's never explained. And furthermore, it had nothing to do with Maru. Like, Maru being saved, and it's like, all right, cool, let's just throw that away. And it's like, I just don't understand. There was a lot of things like that that just didn't make sense. And if they could have just quickly explained it, I think I would have been more okay with stuff, right? Like, if Dagmar would have put the crown on, and then like she gets stopped, she's like, I don't understand. And then she would find out, like, Dagmar, you're not the one who needs the crown. That one was B. And until she wears it, this will never happen. And now, because of how this is out, it'll never happen. You failed. And then that's the end of it. Like, right? Like, we're like, oh, what was the crown for? We won't know because they stopped it. Like, that was the whole point of it. Like, to stop the crown. They don't go into that. Wish they did. I really do. And it's just funny to me that now everything is more magical in Dreamland. But nothing changed to enable the magic, you know? Like, it's like, oh, it's because of all the like the tears of like the angels coming down in the thing. But then we see the moments where like Cesario put more water into the tins and then they all became alive. And it's like, oh, it's meant to be like magic is drawing back into Dreamland, but it's like, but it was always there. Like, that was the whole thing that was being explained why Dreamland was magical, was because of the river.
That joke that they have with like Cisteria, and he's like, yeah, my mom's in a jar too. I laughed and I thought about Baldur's Gate.
Oh yeah,
the one like weird dude that has like
he was like,
my mom's he's like, my mom's on the shelf.
It's like, me and my mom has never been closer. In fact, I have her with me right now.
Yeah, like I thought of that.
You ever seen the TikTok of what you can do with that encounter?
Yeah, can't you steal it from him?
Yeah, in the conversation where you mention, like, he's like, my mom is right there over there, and if you steal it, you can be like, I have your mom. He's like, mother, no. And then he'll fight you.
Mother, no.
Mother, no. My boy. My boy, no. Father, help me.
Bye, bye. Man.
Man.
But yeah, no. I'm. You know, it's not like I regretted watching this at all. Like, I enjoyed some of the story beats, and I did enjoy a lot of the characters. Like, I really like Lucy. I think he's my favorite character out of the whole show. I think Satan's fun.
Yeah, you know, he was a lot better than I thought he would be. Like, he's a lot chiller.
Yeah, he was more of like, you know, kind of that way. And I really like Matt Berry as the stupid pig. I just love him so much. But it's like, it's a miss though, because they don't have enough of him, in my opinion, to make it. It's not like, even
that it's enough of him. It's like, I like Matt Perry a lot. The issue is that Mortimer as a character is not likable. Like, he is a sexist, like, misogynistic, narcissistic pig, and that's his character. Like, he has no function or demon quality other than that. And Matt Berry plays it great, but the character's not good.
You're gonna love it, because Matt Berry's new show is out now, and like I've been watching it. Yeah, so it's pretty good. And it's an animated show. You know, he's starting to do more animation now, I was told.
I'll tell you, dude. I'm calling it now. A lot of these like good time actors and whatnot, they're gonna start doing a lot more voice acting gigs, because they can do it from home now, because the technology's there. They don't have to go into the office to do all this stuff. They can do it all from home, and they can get a good paycheck for it.
Yep.
It's going to happen. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's going to be a thing. Look at
Scott Pilgrim. takes off.
Well, Scott Pilgrim for sure, definitely. I was thinking more of Omni-Man dude. I can't.
Invincible.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
He has been blowing up in the voice acting scene.
Oh yeah, he did Baldur's Gate.
He did Baldur's Gate. He did Omni-Man. He did what was the other?
He did Mortal Kombat. He did his
do
Omni-Man in that.
Yeah, like he's just doing a lot more voice acting stuff now because it's easier on people to do.
Yeah.
And he's a fantastic freaking voice actor. I'm amazed.
Oh yeah.
I do love the fact that whenever fans like see him at things and they say like, man, you were great in this. And he's like, I don't remember doing that. I'll be honest. Because voice acting, you don't act, you just say the lines and then you listen to the people and they tell you how to redirect. And unless you are like big into like what's happening, you just don't pay attention. Yeah. And so like he doesn't remember doing a couple of the voice acting gigs that he has.
Well, take for example, one of my most anticipated movies coming out is the last Studio Ghibli movie. And it's got Robert Pattinson in it. Like Robert Pattinson, a lot of people gave him a lot of crap for Twilight, but after I watched Robert Pattinson in The Lighthouse, I was like, this guy can act. This guy is good.
That's the issue with like
it's just that
being defined. Like it's the same thing with like the Harry Potter people.
Yeah.
Outside of
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, outside of like two other people, they all get lumped in as the Harry Potter people, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's the issue about being a young adult star in a franchise that goes on so long, is that that's what you become. And until you make something that people see you differently as, it's really hard to break out that.
For example, the Bear, Jeremy Allen White was known as Lip from Shameless. That's how it is.
It's hilarious to me because I never watched Shameless. And watching the Bear, I was like, yo, I love this guy. Like, he's fantastic. I root for him hardcore.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, like, I see him in other stuff. I'm like, yo, it's the dude from the Bear. And everyone else is like, yo, it's blah, blah, blah from Shameless. And I'm like, who cares? He's my chef.
Well, see, what's really weird about Shameless, though, like, the thing is, not to get off topic, but the weird thing about Shameless, though, is like some of the people that are in Shameless, you have seen other things of them. Like,
I'm sure
they've been like, okay, Emily Roseman, the main character, she is Christina from Phantom of the Opera, the movie.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
She's the original actor, and I didn't know that. And then her boyfriend Steve, I was like, how do I know these two? These two have been on screen together before. Then it clicked. Dragon Ball Z Evolution, the terrible Dragon Ball Z movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She played Bulma, and he played Goku.
Yeah, the reason why they got the original script, like how they got in on Shameless, was because they accidentally got overheard in a conversation. It's like, wow, you two were in Dragon Ball Z, that's Shameless. And then the producer's like, oh, so those are the actors? All right, put them in.
And then everyone knows William H. Macy was like the big actor.
The only one I remember from Shameless that I was like, oh, I know this person, was the dude from Reba.
Oh, yeah, Kevin, the guy that plays Kev.
Because like he was funny to me in Reba. Like I didn't really like Reba all that much, but my mom loved it, so I watched it a lot with her. And he was the one character that I was like, he plays the adorable golden retriever dummy guy, and I just kind of enjoy him for that.
Cameron, the person that plays not Lip, Ian Gallagher, the red hair kid. Okay. He's the main antagonist for the Jedi Survivor games. Like Cal Kestis or whatever his name. So and he did the Joker and multiple other roles. Like, he's really good. And then like most of the other cast members that were on Shameless were on like the new Roseanne show called I forget what it's called. I forget.
Yeah,
it's like Roseanne Barr or something like that. But it was like I forget the name of the show. But it's interesting to see like these voice actors, and I'm glad that we're seeing people spew into voice acting. Like Eric Andres, I think, did great with Lucy.
There is one person we have to say should not get into voice acting, and he has been making waves, and that's Chris Pratt. Because gosh dang it, I am so freaking tired of seeing him being like, I'm cast as this character. It's like, oh, does he do a voice? No, it's just his voice. I'm like, this sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you have all these amazing voice actors able to like change and modify their voice and pitch, and all he does is walk in and he's like, I'm Chris Pratt. And then like, freaking give that man the gold medal, millions of dollars. He's Mario, he's Garfield.
That's why I will always say is like the two best voice actors to ever be around is Joe DiMaggio and Billy West. Those are my two favorite voice actors. And a lot of people are like, who's Billy West? And I'm like, if you watch Futurama or
Billy West is one of those people that if you just like put on his voice, people are like, oh yeah, I know him, that's Farnsworth. It's like, actually this was this character, and you're like, oh, it's voiced by the same person. Like, yeah, I always think of
Stereo
Adventure Time. There's an episode of Adventure Time where Jake like has like stomach issues, and he kind of like envelops himself into himself, and he meets like this whole different world, and it's all just Billy West's voices. And it's like him playing the professor, him playing Fry, him playing, and it's all that, and it's hilarious. And I'm like, yep, I know exactly who that is.
Or Mark Hamill too. Like Mark Hamill, you would never expect to be such a great voice actor.
Mark Hamill comes in clutch.
Yeah, you know,
freaking in was it The Fall of Usher? Him doing that voice, I was like, yo, Mark, that's a fantastic voice. I'm used to you doing like voices a little gravelly for like Adventure Time and like Avatar,
regular
The Last
show.
Airbender, but like this one was like a whole new character, and I appreciate that, Mark. Yeah, we could sit here and go about like voice acting for a while because it's all good, but I do really hope that for the foreseeable like future, I see a lot more stuff on Netflix being made in like cartoons and like animation. And I hope other streaming services do that too, and really start like enveloping that. I know like Disney has their What If series coming back. Fantastic. I'm cool with that. Even though that's animated, I'm cool with that. Right. I like 2D animations more than IRL stuff, but our IRL stuff can be fantastic. Like live action stuff can be fantastic, but I just think that animation is just better in my opinion, and I will die on that ship until I'm old, watching my Steven Universe for the 50th time as my invisible and unreal grandchildren look at me and be like, Grandpa, why are you still watching this?
Well, like, you know,
shut up, ghost children.
Is animation has been part of my life for a long time because I've been a Simpsons fan. And what's really funny is they just rumored this week that the second movie, there have been whispers of it now. Like studios are looking to pick it up, and I'm like,
cool,
of course. So, you know, and animation is great. The thing is what's great about animation for me is you can do things in animation that you would never be able to do in real life without a huge budget. You know, and I think also too is it takes a lot of pressure off of an actor acting because they don't have to be in like a certain role. Like I just watched one of my favorite shows, like documentaries, is called The Movies That Made Us, and I just watched RoboCop, and how long it would take Peter Cullen, I think that's his name, Peter Ketter, to get in the RoboCop costume was 18 hours. That's a lot of pressure instead of just like animating something and being like, act, buddy.
Remember that at that time, animation was not that popular. I think the rise in like anime being like seen as like a legitimate style of like storytelling has increased the odds of like animation being good. And I like that a lot. I am happy for that.
I think also too is that we have to give it to Toy Story. Because Toy Story did innovate like the 3D animation thing where people went and saw the movie because they were like, oh, it's 3D animation. And Pixar did that. And now like a lot of places are doing animation. I'm okay with it. Like Netflix just had a brand new one that my buddy was like, you have to watch. It was called like The Blue Code Samurai, which is really well done. Like I watched it and I was like, okay, he was right. Because he finally got to watch Scott Pilgrim. Which is funny.
Scott Pilgrim is another thing that's like that should have been animated from the get-go.
T Money texted me like he was like, I was like, have you watched Scott Pilgrim yet? And he was like, no, I haven't yet. I go on vacation on Sunday. I'll end up watching it then. And I was like, okay. And he's like, how is it? Closer to the comics? And I was like, you'll see. And he was like, what kind of answer is that? And I said,
Dude, I would have just like
see.
gaslight him and be like, bro, if you're a fan of the comics, like this is everything you want. And then just like when it's like, how is that everything I want? It's like, because it's everything that you didn't realize you needed in the show. And then it's like, you're right.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And then
he starts crying tears of joy.
Then he was like, I'm starting it now. And then like after the first episode, he's like, what the heck's going on? What the heck's going on? Like, and he's just going, I was like, just keep watching. And then he was done with it. He was like, I really enjoyed it. He's like, I really did. He's like, but I still deep down feel like they should do a complete recreation of the comics as an anime. And I was like, yeah, they could do that. Totally. You know, they could put that on board. I was like, I'm fine with that. I would love that. But I understand, you know, and there's animation's great. I love regular show. I love, you know, Close Enough, all that stuff. So pretty excited. But you know, I think Disenchantment was fun. It wasn't the greatest thing Matt Groening has ever done, but it was still
it had
its moments.
Yeah, it had great moments. I enjoyed the characters, the ones that they were involved. I agree. Like it's not like I'm not going to revisit Disenchantment like I revisit Futurama, but that's not because Disenchantment's not enjoyable. It's because Futurama I can throw on any episode and just enjoy it. This I feel like I would have to be watching.
Yeah, it's not so episodic. You need to watch you know, it's not episodic.
Yeah, it's not episodic. It's a story. Like it's a full story. And that's fine. Like it's fine, it's great. It's not what I wanted, because I wanted a medieval Futurama is what I initially wanted whenever this came out. Yeah. But it's okay that I didn't get that. Because I do think it was a good show and I enjoyed it. And you know what? Am I going to make some D&D characters based off them? Heck yeah. Because it's hilarious to me. Like McTavish, I'm going to make that a character in a DM, because the most funniest part to me this season was when they're all on drugs and they're like, yay, let's go hug together, and all start hugging, and all of a sudden McTavish just randomly appears on screen and Alpha just screams on the top of his lung, get the fuck out of here, McTavish.
Get out of here, McTavish. We're trying to have fun time.
I laughed so hard at that. It hurt my leg because I was just laughing hysterically. Like, it was such a well-timed joke that I didn't see it coming. When it appeared, I seriously thought at some point in this season, McTavish was going to reveal himself as like a really competent person and like was just like under a rouge, and I thought that was the moment, and then they ruined it by being like, get out of here, McTavish. He's like, okay. I just oh man, it made me laugh really, really hard, and I was like,
oh man,
it's those moments that I'll be like, yeah, no, the show's good, the show's good, the show's solid. So
yeah,
I also I just saw it, so I do want to point out the other part I laughed was whenever the one elf blew the horn, and then like it like echoes, and then it cuts to the mermaids, and they're like, is that the orgy horn? And it's like, no, that's the war horn. And then it cuts to the next one. It's like, there's only so many sounds you can make with a shell. And I laughed at that because I'm like, no, that's 100% true. I appreciate that joke. So yeah, but no, it was a good show. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'll probably rewatch it at some point. Maybe not like soon or whatnot, but I'll definitely rewatch it. And I liked it.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. Do you have any last things you want to say?
No, I think that you know, it's one of those shows I'll probably revisit later on in life, but it's nothing that I'm gonna like seek out to keep rewatching. And I agree, it's not episodic. So like, I love episodic shows for like background noise, or like, you know, when some friends are coming over and just wants to watch something like this. You know, like what we're talking about next week. Yeah. Like, that's an episodic show.
This would be a show that like I occasionally, like whenever I go to bed, I end up plugging for people who know more than me. There's a guy, Markiplier. I really enjoy Markiplier, and I love listening to him and his friends play Phasmophobia. So I will go to bed to him and his friends playing Phasmophobia, like a mega compilation that's like 7 hours long, of like 7 different streams they did of it, and I'll just go to bed to that. But every now and then I'm like, I don't want to go to bed with just a mindless thing. and I'll put on like him playing Inscription or whatever. This is the type of show I would put on as I go to bed. I'm not watching it to focus. I'm watching it to like kind of enjoy and daze off and just enjoy the vibes. And that's why I get with the show, and that's why I like it. So that's my final thing. Awesome. Speaking of things that we can fall asleep to, next week we're watching Futurama season 11, baby. That new season of Futurama that came out a while ago, but we got flooded with so many things. We done with Netflix, baby. We can cancel that Netflix subscription. Screw them. No more money. They don't get no more.
No money.
And we can go and watch Futurama and other beautiful things like that. So Austin, I appreciate you joining me on this episode of Bros and Shows. I appreciate everyone who stopped by to say hello, Mama Burkhardt and whatnot. We appreciate you guys. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and thank you all so much for tuning in.